Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we are going to be ranking Season 24 of Doctor Who, now that I have finally got to see the whole season. This, of course, getting the box set was the first time I got to see Paradise Towers and Delta and the Bannermen, so that was a nice treat for me, and means the only Sylvester McCoy story I haven't seen yet on TV is Happiness Patrol. Looking forward to that. So, we only have 4 stories to get through, so let's hop to it, and in 4th place, not surprisingly, is Time in the Rani. I don't think Time in the Rani is just the crap show some people think that it is. It's not good. I'll admit that it's not good, but it's watchable. It is watchable. It's a lot better than a lot of other Doctor Who stories out there. I'll watch it over any episode from Series 11. I like some things about it. Kate O'Mara is my favorite part of this story. I really like Kate in this. She looks like she's just having a ball with it. And I love when she's disguised as Mel in the first 2 episodes and the looks she gets on her faces as she's having to put up with McCoy. You can just see her over there. You could just tell she wants to strangle him, but she's holding back because she needs him. But as soon as she doesn't need him, she'll probably be ready to strangle him, basically, is the look on her face. So I love her. I love her for that. It's just wonderful. I like some of the special effects. I think the TARDIS falling at the beginning of the story looks good for the time. For 1987, that's pretty impressive. Very dated looking now. I like the little balls that spin and explode into the side of the mountains. I think that holds up really well and is a pretty neat effect. I think the Tetrats look really good. I think that's a good costume design. I like how the eyes actually do move. I think that's really well conceived. The tongues look a little fake, but other than that, really good. I think the Lacertians look good. That's a good costume. I like the fact that their faces are still free and not covered up, so you can get that range of movement with their faces. And I like seeing Sylvester running around in Colin's outfit for a little bit. I always like, in a post-regeneration story, when he's wearing his previous incarnation's outfit for a bit. I mean, there's a lot of bad in there, too. Sylvester's a little too slapstick here. Like when he keeps falling over and everything. And again, I've chalked some of this up to post-regeneration trauma, especially forced on him by the Rani with that shot. Plus, Sylvester's finding his way with the character. I do like him mixing the metaphors the way he does, but he does it too much. I had forgotten just how much he does that in this story. I enjoy that he does it. I think it's neat, but it happens too many times. And I do like it watching him play the spoons. I did enjoy that. But he is a little too silly here, and the story's not really that great either, to be honest. Next on the list in 3rd place is Delta and the Bannermen. And this one's decent edging into good. Like, it's definitely not a bad story. I don't know why people would call it a bad story. I don't think it's really good either. I think it's decent edging into good. That kind of, not quite the middle ground, but right around the middle ground, but slightly on the good side. I did like the story. I thought the actors did a pretty good job with it. The guy playing the villain was nice and villainous. I liked Ken Dodd and his little small part at the beginning. I didn't really care for the 2 guys who were there from the U.S. One of them, the one in the New York hat, is fine. The other one has that southern accent that sounds like so exaggerated and silly. It's almost a caricature. He would have fit right in on Rosa. Oh, that accent's so bad, that southern accent. I cringed every time he talked. I hated that all the people on the bus got killed. That kind of put me off a little bit. I was kind of hoping maybe the Doctor had somehow saved them, but nope, turns out they all got killed. I found the whole child growing fast and speaking with that pitch sound pretty neat, and I like the fact she's the one who kind of solved everything. Well, not solved everything, but with her little thing over the intercom, that helped. Some of the music's weird. I like some of the 50s sounding music, but the little Benny Hill bit I thought came across as silly. I didn't really care for it. So, like I said, I liked it. It's enjoyable, but it's not something I'm going to go back and watch again anytime soon. I'll probably watch it again 2 or 3 years from now. But not as bad as some people make it out to be. Now, number 1 and 2 are almost a tie, which really surprised me. It's really hard for me to pick between them. They're almost neck and neck. I really do enjoy both of the other stories this season. I'm going to put Paradise Towers in 2, and if you're someone who puts it at 1, I perfectly understand that because it's a phenomenal story. Story-wise, I think Paradise Towers is the best. The actual story, I think it has the best one. Its execution hurts it a little bit because it's very obviously made in the 80s, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I love the 80s. But it's painfully obvious some of the choices that were made here. Sylvester McCoy, oddly enough, in only his second story, is very serious in this one. He's one of the most serious parts of this story. So it's interesting to see him to go from how he is from Time in the Rani to how he is here. Like that he's got an umbrella, even if it's not his traditional umbrella. I like the Kangs. I like their kind of 80s outfits. I love their little feuding thing. As somebody in the comments pointed out in my Paradise Towers review, it reminded him a lot of the episode of Babylon 5 when the Drazi were running around with the pink and purple ribbons fighting each other. I think that's a pretty neat little comparison. I love me some Babylon 5. I like how the Kangs have their own way of speaking. They don't talk the way we talk. Like when they say, instead of saying dead, they say unalive. They have, like how to do or something, the way they say hello. They have their own unique cultural way of talking and their own way of saying hello and all that. And I find that fascinating. It seems pretty well developed over the story, and I like that. I think the actresses do a good job there. I love the scene when Richard, his character, the great caretaker, is talking to his subordinate, and he does that bit about when he's telling him about how many rules he's broken, because the subordinate questions something he said is, if I was to stand here and list how many things you've broken, we'd be here for hours. That bit, I love the way Richard plays that, because he's just aghast that his second in command would question him and actually question the rules. That his mouth just kind of trembles as he's trying to find the words when he walks over to him. Like here's the other guy, and here's him, and he's just like, if I were to stand here and list all of the things you've broken, we would be here for hours. Just the way he does that. Love it. It's my favorite scene with Richard in it. Just the way, that look on his face, like he can't comprehend that somebody would question his orders. I like the architect when he's in the room, when you just hear that voice, like when the cleaning bots, which as I mentioned in my review, remind me a lot of the IMC robot from Colony in Space. I like the little cleaning bots. They're silly, but it's a fun, campy silly. When they bring it to the basement, you just hear that voice going, hungry, with those neon lights. The neon lights are okay. Like, they're not bad. They're not great. They're neat. But that voice, the hungry, want food. I love that. That's a creepy sounding voice. If I walked into a room and I heard that voice, I'd be like, oh, time to go. So I think whoever was doing the voice there did a really good job. Richard, once he becomes, once he gets taken over by the architect, I don't mind his acting there, because we're talking about, the architect is someone who has been disembodied for a long time and is in a body that's not really his own. So I could see him adjusting to it. Plus, to differentiate that character from the chief character more, I don't mind the way he plays it. I'm fine with it. Same thing with Pex. When I was first watching the story, I didn't like Pex's acting. It seemed very, ha ha ha, I'm the hero. But then I realized they're doing that on purpose, because he is a coward who's trying so hard to be a hero that he's like, it's like watching a 5-year-old try to be a hero the way he does it on TV, and it comes across as that, ha ha ha. And I think that works. I think that's actually the way that's supposed to be done, so that works out really, really well. As I mentioned in my review of Paradise Towers, it's actually a really dark story. These people, a lot of people talk about season 24 being silly and campy and lighthearted, because it's pretty much a direct reaction of all the criticisms against 22 and 23 for being too dark. So 24 had to go super happy campy. But if you actually look at the story of Paradise Towers, it is dark as crap. Like, it's dark. There's some gruesome, dark, twisted stuff going on in that story. People getting fed to a monster, basically, getting pulled down waste disposal pipes. Look at the yellow king who gets killed at the beginning. There's some really dark stuff going on in this story. It's just, you don't really see it because it's a really dark story with a very thin coat of camp and rainbows and unicorns slapped over it. And I think some people who watch it, that's all they see is the little camp that you actually see visually. They don't actually stop and realize and think about all the dark things that are happening in the story. Paradise Towers is one of those stories, if it had taken place during the Hinchcliffe era, it would be dark. Or even like, say, season 15. It would be It would have been much more seriously and darkly and gothically executed, and it would have came across, I think, better. But because season 24 did go for that kind of much more lighthearted than 22-23 approach, it can affect, it affects the execution of the story a little bit on screen. And number one on the list is Dragonfire. You guys know I love Dragonfire. You've heard me talk about it before. I think Sylvester is good in it. It's the introduction of Ace. I think she's good in it. I think the farewell with Mel is pretty good in it. It has Glitz back. I like Glitz a lot. I really love Glitz's character. I think Tony did a good job with him. I like Glitz with Colin in season 23. I like Glitz with McCoy here. I think he goes well off both of them. And I find his character really, really neat. He's not necessarily a bad guy, but he's not really a good guy either. He's just kind of on his own side, So I enjoy that. I think the set designs are really good. I like them. I think the creature design for the main creature is done really well, especially for Classic Who. I think Kane is a really neat villain, and his death sequence is extremely well done for Classic Who. That's impressive right there. His death is really impressive. And it's got Patricia Quinn from Rocky Horror in it. Come on, you got to give it points for that. Like I said, there's only a couple silly bits. The literal cliffhanger that doesn't make sense because he just does that for no reason. Yeah, that's silly. And then the one other criticism is I think Sylvester kind of slipping around on the ice as much as he does. One, it happens a little too often and it's a little too exaggerated. Two, he's the only one really doing it. It wouldn't be as bad if some other people were slipping on the ice, because it makes sense to be slipping on ice, don't get me wrong. But the fact he is so overtly slipping on ice and no one else is hardly at all slipping on ice makes it stand out as a little, Other than that, I think it's a great story. So that's how I rank season 24. How would you rank season 24? I'm curious to know what you guys think and what you think of season 24 as a whole, because I think it's very underrated, to be honest. I'll have an actual review of the season coming soon. Well, review of the box set coming soon. So let me know what you think down in the comments and what you think of my list and reasons as well. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. I also have a Patreon if you would like to contribute to that. There's a link to that down below. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month, but I have a $5 tier, a $10, $15, and a $20 tier as well, in case you want to do like video requests and stuff like that. Most importantly, though, stay safe out there, and thank you for watching.